Well, Nikon does it again. Another great camera at a great price, and I think it's gonna find its way into a lot of hands. But it got me thinking, who is this camera really for? So right off the bat, who's it for? Photographers. That's who it's for. It's $1,700. I have my little note sheet here that I might be referring to a little bit, but it's $1,700. Full frame camera, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. With, let's just go through it. So the Z6, when it first came out back in 2018, I believe, $2,000. $2,000 for the original Z6. And now this camera's coming out at $1,700 US. Like, come on, dude, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. The coolest part to me, and why I say this is for photographers, is you're getting the Speed 7 processor. Now, if you're not really a camera nerd person, that's the processor that came out with the Nikon Z9 that changed the game. Everybody that criticized Nikon for having slow autofocus, not reliable autofocus, whatever it might have been, the Speed 7 processor changed the game. And so you're getting that processor in this camera, which is wild. You're also getting all of those crazy autofocus features, right? All the special face detect, animal detect, airplane, bicycles, motorcycles, car, right? Like you're getting all the crazy autofocus stuff, and you even get to be able to customize what kind of box you want to be autofocusing with. And if you're not familiar with Nikon cameras, I recommend checking some of those videos out that actually explain how to do that. I haven't made one like that, but it really lets you dial in exactly where you want to be telling the camera and the sensor to be focusing, right? So that's incredible. And it's even more incredible because they've packed some crazy video features into it. So it looks like you can go up to 4K, which is a little bit over UHD. I'm not gonna go into all that, but anyways, 4K, 60 frames per second video, which is incredible. You even get in-log, which is a nice high dynamic range video gamma that you can record in if you're planning on doing some post-processing work on your footage that gives you a lot more flexibility. But they even put in RAW, a raw video codec in a camera that is sub $2,000. It's wild. That is, bravo Nikon, bravo. Absolutely insane. Unfortunately, that's kind of where the good news ends when it comes to hybrid shooting. And that's why I say that this camera is specifically for photographers that want to do some video. And here's why I say that. You're limited to the 4K, right? The Z8, the Z9, the Z6 III can all shoot over 4K resolution. And why is that important? Well, a lot of video workflows like to have larger resolutions than your deliverable. So a lot of videos are being delivered in 4K or UHD at this point. So if you're shooting in 4K, you don't have as much flexibility in post for cropping or delivering in a higher resolution later on, kind of future-proofing your footage. So that's just something to kind of consider. Not a deal breaker, but if you're wanting to do more video stuff, just something to think about. And then also it says on their spec page that in RAW, you can only shoot in normal mode, meaning you can't shoot in an HLG or in-log gamma. So you're still gonna get more flexibility, but you're not gonna necessarily get the high dynamic range advantages that in-log can give you. So it's a little bit strange, but I'm guessing that's probably just to differentiate it a little bit more. Not really sure what the thought process was there, but if you're really wanting to be able to shoot in RAW and in log, it doesn't look like you're gonna be able to do that with this camera, which again, is not a deal breaker, but just something to consider. The other thing, and probably the biggest thing that I would recommend considering if you're wanting to use this as a hybrid camera or even get more into video work, is that it's actually coming with a dual SD card setup. Now you might be like, great, dual. Well, yes, however, you can't shoot video to both cards at the same time, even on the Z9, which Nikon, I hope you hope you do that someday. That'd be really nice, especially for shooting weddings. But Dual SD card slots, great. However, these higher resolutions and these higher codecs that are less compressed and large file heavy, they're gonna struggle on SD cards. The read-write speeds on SD cards are pretty slow comparatively to CF Express cards. So when it comes to photo, that's not a huge deal unless you're doing like the crazy high burst rates and all the crazy stuff like the Z9 and Z8 can do, but just something to consider there. And I've actually ran into this issue shooting a wedding. We had the hot card slot on the Z8, so I told my wife to just swap over to the SD card real quick, and it was having trouble not cutting off the recordings on us because we were shooting in ProRes 422, so not even in log, or RAW, either the ProRes RAW or the in RAW. But yeah, so if you're kind of wanting to use it that way, I would just be careful because the SD card is definitely going to run into a few more issues with the read-write speeds. The other thing that you're not getting is a stacked or a partially stacked CMOS sensor. So even though you're getting the Xpeed 7 processor, which is really fast, without getting too technical, it's not going to be quite as fast as the Z6 III, Z8, or Z9 because you're not getting a stacked CMOS sensor. All that really means is that part of the sensor is focusing, part of the sensor is reading the data. So everything's happening on the same sensor. Just to know that there is an advantage to having a stacked sensor. So if you're wanting to focus more on hybrid shooting or even getting more into the video world, I would highly recommend looking into the Z6 III. It's still relatively new. It comes in right now at $2,500, so it's $800 more. But again, like I keep saying, if you're wanting to focus on both, I would highly recommend looking into it a little bit more. Let's see, the biggest things about it is you get that CF Express card, which is really nice. You can shoot in 6K, so you get that higher resolution for deliverable purposes. You get in RAW, ProRes 422, you get all those codecs and frame rates and stuff that the Z8 and Z9 have. You're just limited to the 6K resolution, which is totally fine for the price difference between the Z6 III and the Z8. Is really good. You also get the shutter angle, which isn't a huge deal, but it's just a kind of a sign that they're trying to push more into video features into the Z6 III, and shutter angle basically means it's a different way of setting your shutter. So you're not using shutter speed and it's better for video. But anyway, so you do get that. You also get a dual native ISO in the Z6 III at 6400, I believe it is. So you get better low light performance, cleaner low light performance. So anyways, those are just some of my thoughts. I hope that's helpful. Obviously, I can't give you a full review, but just from someone that has some experience shooting on these cameras, I hope that gives some perspective on who should be looking for it. So again, photographers, absolutely $1,700 for a full frame camera with some awesome video features is wild. But if you are looking for a good B/C cam, you want to be able to do more video stuff, it might be worth trying to bump up into that Z6 III range if you can, because you're definitely going to see it be more capable. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope that's helpful. Hopefully that clears that up for someone. If you have any other questions, please let me know. And until the next one, see ya.